Caitlin, we good? Okie dokie. Okay. All right, I'd like to introduce you guys to my good friend. This is Sidney Reeves. He's also known as Dr. Fit because he went to medical school. So Sidney is a personal fitness trainer. He's actually my fitness trainer that I couldn't see for 2 years because of my darn back surgery, but finally, about 2 months ago, my husband and I were able to start training with him again. So look out, I have some big guns here eventually. So it's always teasing my husband, he's like, put the big guns away. So Sidney and I, we went to high school together. We graduated from Bellman High School back in the day. And then Sidney went on to awesome stuff. So he's going to tell you all the awesome stuff that he has accomplished in his lifetime and the incredible story that he has. So follow along with your lecture, or with his lecture, excuse me. Take notes, of course, as I mentioned before, about fitness training. Okay?
Thank you.
Right, so let's thank Sidney in advance for coming.
How's everybody doing today?
Good.
Doing all right?
Mm-hmm.
Got some lunch?
Yes.
Blood sugars are good, right?
Mm-hmm.
Health sciences, right? Yeah? Future health practitioners? Yeah? What you going to do? NICU? Oh, nice. My sister is a NICU nurse, Sophia, California. Yeah, she loves it. It's challenging, very challenging, but yeah, good field. Anyone else? What you going to do?
Probably athletic training.
Athletic training? Nice, okay. Future trainer? Anybody else? Yeah? You guys, you like this class? You like learning about bones, muscles? It's one of my favorite things to learn about. I love it, I love it, love it. I can't get enough of it. I live it, I love it, and let's get into it. So, I'm Sidney Reeves, also known as Dr. Fit. Like she said, we went to high school together. What she didn't say was she was number 2 in our class. 279 students, and she was number 2, right? So don't sleep on it. She's a really smart teacher, and
Oh, Sidney was awesome, smart too. Come on.
oh, okay. Let's just picture the ocean, and I'm just like riding on her waves. Okay, let's get real. No, but we had this class called AP Biology together. And we loved it. We loved our teacher. He was funny, kinda. And some of the jingles that he taught us, you know, we still say them to this day. Cholecystokine and cholecystokine, right? What else? ATP, ATP, So, you know, all those jingles help you remember long term, right? Neurolinguistic programming. So, yeah, we went to high school together. And we had a very competitive class, okay? A lot of doctors. My best friend Larry Kane's a doctor. We had Danielle, the cheerleader, Miller. She's a pediatric physician / captain in the Navy, okay? So she went big time with that to help pay for her schooling. Matt Gardner, psychiatrist. Pearl Wu, number 1 in our class, okay? She went to Northwestern Medical School, finished in 3 years. Nobody does that. Nobody does med school in 3 years. No. She was way advanced. So anyway, that was a good environment for me to be in because it pushed me to really, you know, try and keep up and study the material and retain it. My junior year of high school, I had a unique situation because I had to take care of my adopted mom. She was also diabetic, and she ended up losing both of her legs to diabetes because of the peripheral neuropathy that they experience, you know, poor blood circulation in the extremities. And she had injured her toe at work, and it wouldn't heal, and finally they amputated the toe, and so on and so forth. She ended up getting both legs amputated. And so it was really a hard time for me, like very frustrating, trying to like do school, do sports, and take care of her. You know, pricking her pricking her finger for blood, checking blood sugars, trying to get her to stop drinking Pepsi, you know, try and be positive about it. And the insulin shots, you know, I don't know if you realize it, but back then, you know, they put them in their arm, their here, their stomach, and their thigh, and these areas would get really kind of beat up, you know, from the shots so frequently. And so anyway, I was taking care of her, and it was a trying time for me. But at the same time, it inspired me to want to go to med school because I really wanted to learn more about diabetes and managing that condition. So, which takes us to my best friend Larry, okay? Larry and I grew up together, 4 years old. How many of you have a bestie? Raise your hand if you have a bestie. You have a bestie? Raise your hand up, let me see it. Okay, you got a bestie. So, when did you meet your bestie?
7th grade.
7th grade, bestie?
Yeah, 7th grade.
7th grade? Who else has a bestie? You have a bestie?
Met her through my mom's friend.
But how long have you known her though?
It's 12 years.
So how old were you guys when you met? 3? Bestie? How long? When did you meet? See what I'm saying? Me and Larry met when we were 4 years old, okay? And, oh man, we would just like to compete against each other. Like spelling bee, multiplication, I mean, you name it, chess, video games. And we played football, both on level football. And I was the offensive MVP, he was the defensive MVP. He had these really long arms, okay? So after Little League, come right before 9th grade, Larry just grows 6 inches. We're like, dang dude, you should play basketball, right? So we start working out, trying to play basketball after school, get him ready for his tryout. And he doesn't make the team, freshman year. Sophomore year, makes the team. Comes out, sits the bench, kind of learns a little bit, gets, you know, a little bit better, and works on his skill set. We're still going home, practicing. And then junior year, he makes the team, and he's got a few buckets, you know, 6, 8 points. He's got some rebounds. He's got some block shots, you know. He's getting a little bit better. He's also grown a little bit more. Okay. He's like 6'6" at this point, okay, and still growing, okay. So, by the way, we did 3rd and 4th grade in 1 year because we were so competitive. Like, they would put work in front of us, and we would just do it, just so we could like get into mischief, you know, goof around. They put work in front of us, we would just do it, just so we could goof off, right? So we did 3rd and 4th grade in 1 year. So what does that mean? Well, we were developmentally behind the kids. The other kids were more developed than us, you know, in size and everything. But at the same time, academically, it was an advantage because we finished high school at 17 years old, right? So it all comes down to Larry, all of a sudden, senior year, he's like 6'10" now, right? Senior year, state championship basketball game, right, against Tempe. They're going for it. I mean, they're going hard. Like, we have 5 guys on the court, and we can't really put in a sub because if we put in a sub, Tempe starts beating us, right? And we have to put the same 5 back in, catch back up, boom, 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 going back and forth. And Larry's doing his thing, and God, it was awesome. That's all I can tell you. It was awesome. We ended up winning. We beat Tempe. Thank goodness they didn't have a 3-point line back then, or we would have got destroyed. Because them guys were shooting the lights out from way out, right? They didn't have 3-point line back then, so we ended up beating them. Larry had 35 points, okay, MVP, and University of Utah was in the audience. And they were looking at Kurt Miller, but they ended up signing Larry, 4-year, full-ride scholarship to University of Utah. So Larry gets a full ride, so I'm like, hey man, we're going to the U. So we graduate Van Loman, we're off to the University of Utah. And we're back to our training. Like, we're doing our squats, we're working out in the varsity weight room, we're trying to eat more, increase our calories, gain weight, right? We had to put weight on. Larry takes a red shirt and decides to go on a mission. And I joined a fraternity, Sigma Chi. Had tons of fun playing flag football in Rice Eccles Stadium. All my fraternity brothers were on the Highland rugby team, so I started playing rugby. We were running bleachers, doing sprints, running hills, and so I'm getting ready to try out for the football team because Larry's playing basketball, right? So hanging out with all the football players in the dorms and so many cool guys. Carl Harry, who's a trainer now in Clearfield, trainer and coach. Jason Woods, Mark Hupp from Bear River High School, ran track against him. I was a sprinter, he was a sprinter. Scott Mitchell, quarterback, University of Utah, went to the Detroit Lions. So I'm like getting so pumped up and excited for this football tryout, right? Thinking about free safety. And I'm putting in work. I had a great freshman year and come home between freshman and sophomore year and do what I do, start training, you know, and I get introduced to this young lady named Marcella. And she has the same, first of all, we were both black and Italian and both 5'11", it was crazy. And she wanted to play basketball and volleyball at Weber State. And I was telling her about my goal to play some football at the U. So we became friends, we dated, did a lot of training together. She was from Littleton, Colorado, Littleton High School. And I found out that her senior year was terrible, terrible. She lived in her car because her stepdad was abusing her. So she just kind of ran away. And so her dad lived in North Ogden. He was an engineer. He's retired now, but he was an engineer. And said, hey, come out here. I'll pay for your schooling. We'll get you going at Weber State. So she comes out here and gets enrolled at Weber State. And, we're dating and training and having a good time. And it all comes down to the last day of the summer. I had packed up my car, ready to go, moving in the fraternity house, getting ready to go back to the U sophomore year. She calls me up, hey Sidney, come over, let's talk before you go. I'm like, yeah, for sure, Marcel. So I show up at her house, and we're out on the front lawn stretching, and she pulls out a piece of paper, and it's a poem. And she reads this cool poem to me, and we talk about our goals, and it was like a really cool moment. We take off on this jog, and you know where 2550 is, North Shore Aquatic Center, Rush. We went west on that road down to the stop sign, turned around, and were on our way back. And I remember we were jogging single file because she was kind of struggling a little bit, and I'm like, yeah, you got this, come on Marcel, hang in there, we're almost back. And we're just talking, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we get hit by a freaking car. A Lincoln Continental, like probably the biggest car on the planet. And the car's doing like 60. And all of a sudden, Marcella just goes right through the windshield and dies. And the car hits me, and my legs are shattered, and I'm knocked out. And all of a sudden I wake up, and I can see like these brake lights, and then I kind of passed out again. And at the same moment of time, there was a student from Weber High named Billy Ross getting off work at Stop and Shop. He had to take his friend home, so he drove down 2550 just before this happened, and he had dropped his friend off, and as he was turning back onto 2550 to go east, he saw this car, right? The drunk driver, just sitting there. Well, the drunk driver thought, oh my gosh, that's the cops, I gotta get out of here. So he does a U-turn and hits his gas pedal, doing like 110, and runs Billy off the road, runs the next car off the road. Rochelle Johnson, she's getting off work at Kimberly Clark, she's 19, she's freaking out, and the drunk driver hit and run, just takes off. So Billy keeps cruising along in this white truck, sees two bodies down, goes into shock, like it's bad, it's traumatic. We are a mess, he can't take it. Here comes Rochelle Johnson, she sees Billy, and she thinks, oh my gosh, this kid just killed these two people, these other two kids. So she goes to 7-Eleven and gets a cop, and they come back, and they start trying to help us, evaluate us, and they determine that we're both gone. Like the cop did the people check on me, and they're sitting there talking. All of a sudden I start screaming. And it was like I just came back, and Rochelle Johnson grabbed my hand and said, it's going to be okay, it's going to be okay. What's your name, what's your name? I said, that's Sidney, and that's where my story starts. So they took my bones off the road, put it in little baggies, and they took it to the hospital. Loaded me in the ambulance. I get to the hospital. My tibias are shattered, my fibulas are shattered, and Dr. Crosland takes the case. He's on call at the ER that night, and he puts these are called tibial nails. Okay, so they slide these down into through the tibia, and the shaft of the tibia there, and then kind of just put the bones in pieces, like that, and the tibial nail holds it in place so it can start to heal. Okay, so we did that on both sides, right tibia, left tibia. So I got two of those, right and left tibial nails. They put me back together, and that was the first surgery of like 25 surgeries I'm gonna have in this story. I wake up finally from surgery, and they they didn't tell me about Marcella because they didn't want to put me further in shock. So I didn't find out that she died for, you know, several days later after the accident, and it was really hard. It was really hard. It still is hard. In fact, it's part of the reason, one of the reasons that I'm here today is to give her short life more meaning, right? I tell you our story, it helps your life, gives her life more meaning, right? So that's what the plan is, that's the goal. It's one of the reasons I'm here. I was in a wheelchair at first, and had to I was in denial big time, like you would be, right? Couldn't really accept what was going on. I mean, I'm supposed to be going to Australia with the rugby team to play in the national championship. Highland Rugby won the national championship. I was supposed to be there. I'm in the hospital, just completely shattered. And Marcella, she's gone. So eventually you kind of have to reset your goals. Okay, all right, I'm going to enroll in Weber State. I'm going to go to Weber State in a wheelchair. So I did that. Go to Weber State in a wheelchair, start taking classes, declare my zoology major, and go and declare my pre-med status. Still going to go to med school somehow, some way. So the drunk driver went home that night, hit his car in the garage. Turns out that he had been arrested for DUI the week before and let go. Crazy. How things, you know, turn out, right? I guess his routine was go to work, go to 5 bars drinking on the way home. 5 bars. Every day, 5 bars. Okay? Or if it was 3 bars, whatever, 5 bars. He went to a lot of bars on the way home. And his wife just kept begging him, you know, you gotta stop this routine. It's gonna hurt someone, right? So he shows up at home. She wakes up, usual routine. She's upset. She's like, where you been? Blah, blah, blah. Where's the car? It's in the garage. She looks at it. There's blood and clothes all over the car. She's like, you've hit some people. And he's like, no, I didn't. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. She hits 911. Cops show up. They arrest him. Take him off to jail. I start having surgery after surgery because of a bone infection. So one day at rehab, they found there was like this scab on my leg right here. It was a big giant scab, and they ended up taking that off and found this nasty bone infection. It's called osteomyelitis. So they scheduled me for surgery, take me in, remove the scab, and do what's called a resection, where they just get rid of all the dead material, and they cut a hole in my bone. My tibia had like a big hole in it, long, and they took these guys out, the tibial nails. You know, they want to conduct the infection. So they put what's called an external fixator on the bone from the outside, stabilization from the outside. So you got 2 screws going down this way and down this way into the bone. Imagine that, how that would work. Stabilize the bone from here, get rid of all the infection, cut a little shaft in the bone there. He's like, yeah, Sid, you're going to have to take care of this at home, you know. I was like, yeah, I'm happy to do that any way I can stay out of the hospital. So I had an IV, give myself antibiotics around the clock, and I had to do dressing changes, you know, stuff it with gauze, pour the betadine, it would dry, and I'd pull it out to clean it. Super painful and very weird to be sticking your hand inside your own leg, right? Scrubbing your tibia. I wanted to do what I had to do, what was necessary to heal faster and to, you know, get my leg to heal. So, Dr. Crosland consulted another physician named Dr. Ralston, who was a plastic surgeon. He said, well, let's try and pull the soleus muscle over the top of the shin and give that bone some new circulation, some new blood, right? So the soleus muscle, you know what that one is? Anyone? Soleus muscle? You know what is it?
Isn't it your calf muscle?
Yeah, it's right under the calf. So you have the soleus and then, the calf. So you have the calf on the outside, right? And right under your calf is the soleus muscle. So they took my soleus muscle, pulled it over the top of that tibia on the right side, and it died, so it didn't work out. They tried. So then, when they pulled this tibial nail out on the left side, that changed things a lot. because the bone slid and then healed up, so that's 2 inches, right? But it's a very strong union. They say you never break a bone in the same place twice. So because that was healed like that, I was able to stand up on my left side, which then I could start using a walker and eventually crutches, right? But I'm only 5'9" now because of that 2 inches. So then they match this leg up, 5'9", 5'9", no longer 5'11", right? But I'm moving along, I'm up on crutches, I'm getting around better. Dr. Crosland referred me to the University of Utah. He said, hey, they're doing some technology down there that could possibly save your leg, okay? So I get to the University of Utah, and Dr. Scott, who is one of my favorite people on the planet, one of my heroes and mentors, he introduced this concept of bone stretching. You guys ever heard of bone stretching? Yeah. It's a lot like you know, the orthodontist, right? You know, braces on your teeth. You're connecting wires to bone. You're moving around teeth, which is bone, right? You get adjustments. So this is called the Monticelli Spinelli External Fixation System. Big long name from Russia, and 3 rings involved in my case. The top ring stabilizes the bone. The middle ring travels down these threads slowly. Every day I would turn it with a wrench just a little bit. Here, here. Just turn it. It's like a quarter turn. And it would slowly, in order for the bone to stretch, first you have to do a corticotomy, which is where you cut the compact layer of the bone. So they just cut all the way around that tibia. And once you cut it, it's trying to heal, but it can't heal because it has tension. It's actually moving. So it can't actually solidify. Make sense? That's how they're able to stretch bone. So this ring started up here, now it travels down to here into this new position, and they finally get the 2 bones back together. Once the bones are back together, then they got to figure out a way to cover the bone and give it some new tissue and some blood supply, right? So I'm going to go ahead and pass this around, and this one's made out of alloy. It's pretty dang heavy. I used to ride my mountain bike up Mile Hill with this thing on. Dr. Scott encouraged me to stay active, and I was like, yeah, I want to try and swim with it, mountain bike with it, everything I can do to still be into fitness and, you know, keep my it's good therapy, right? The exercise. So check this out. Pass this around. Isn't that crazy? After they got the bone back together, then they wanted to compress the bone with this device. Okay, this external fixator was a lot lighter. It's made out of titanium. Super light, super strong. Amazing technology, right? So it's pushing the 2 bone endings together. Okay, to kind of hold it in place, and it's less cumbersome, right? Check this one out. This guy is just impressive. Super light, super strong. A lot different? Yeah. Do you guys have any questions so far? You sure? Okay. So, I'm going to Weber State. If the driver ends up going to trial, 5 charges, vehicular homicide, killed Marcella, leaving the scene of an accident, DUI, he's been to 5 bars, he's super drunk, negligent driving, right? How much time do you think he got? Any guesses? How much time do you think they gave him? Anyone? 10 years? Anyone else? Any guess? 5 charges? Just take a guess. 15 years? Anyone else? 5? Guess what, guys? 1 year. With work release. So every day he went to work. Came home, or back to the jail, slept there, got up, went to work for 1 year. How do you guys feel about that? You think that was justice? Probably not. Do you think that if he would have served life, it would have brought Marcelo back? No. Do you think that if he served life, it would have brought my good legs back? No. Is that important to me, how much he serves? I mean, you want justice, right? But still, in my mind, I went a different direction, okay? I decided to go on Oprah Winfrey and tell people the story and help educate people on the circumstances, right? So that change could come, right? So I went to the mailbox and I stuck a letter in there to Oprah Winfrey. What are the odds of my letter getting to Oprah? Harpo Studios. What are the odds? I think it's 1 in a million. I would say about 1 in a million, right? I mean, my friends thought I was crazy. Like, yeah, Sid's writing to Oprah. Yeah. And all of a sudden my phone rings. Guess who's on the phone?
Oprah.
Oprah freaking Winfrey. What the? Let's go. So I start talking to her and they're like, yeah, we really like your story. We have a lot of people coming from Utah. We've got Heather Bledsoe from Alta High School. Apparently she took her dad's Porsche and was drinking, had her friends in the car, Little Cottonwood Canyon, lost control, crashed, the car exploded. Everyone died but her. She didn't have one scratch. How would you want to live after that? How would that be to go to school the next day? You just killed everybody. They burned to death. You watched them. They were screaming. Can you imagine the trauma? Well, she was on the show talking about her story. There's a lot of good stories on the show. They set up the script, so they wanted me to have the drunk driver on the show with me. So I thought, okay, well, let me give you a little bit of background. So Martha Treese, the drunk driver's wife, was in my state. At the time, you know, I was preparing for a mission. I had my papers in. I was waiting for my call. Because Larry took a red shirt, was going to go on a mission, so I was going to go on a mission and come back, same thing. So Martha came over to our house one day to apologize for her husband. Knock, knock on the door. I remember at that moment in time, I was in a wheelchair, and my mom was in a wheelchair. And I beat her to the door because I'm fast, you know. I open the door, it's Martha. Hey. She's like, yeah, I'm really sorry for what my husband's done to you and your family. And my mom slammed the door in her face. And I was like, what is that all about? Mom, she didn't do anything wrong. Like, why are you mad at her? You know what I mean? So my mom was just bitter because her only child couldn't have children because diabetes. You know, she adopts me, and my legs get shattered. She's in a wheelchair. Can you imagine how that would feel? She was mad at the world, right? And she tried to have a good attitude about it, but you know, she was very hurt. And so you watch that, and I decided, you know, I don't want that for me. I don't want to be bitter. I don't want to be hateful. That's not going to help me heal, is it? It's not going to get me where I want to go, right? So I'm going to just call this guy and invite him to do the show. So I did. Called him up. Now, of course, he was shocked. Like, total silence on the other end. Hey, Brett, I know this is a little awkward. Just want to let you know I've forgiven you. I'm trying to move on. I'm trying to heal, both emotionally, physically. And we have this opportunity to go on Oprah. You know, it's going to be hard for you to tell what happened, but it'll help a lot of people. Well, he did. We traveled separately, of course. He ends up going on the show, right? I ended up going on the show. I had that thing on my leg when I was on the show. So the show was very successful. It reached a lot of people, and it launched me to a national level as a public speaker. So after that show, I went on tour. I actually spoke in 13 states. And when I wasn't going to school, I just kind of used that for income and would go speak and educate kids on this topic, students. So it turned out pretty good in that respect. I coach football because of my lifestyle as a trainer. I have time freedom, right? I have time to go fishing. I have time to coach my kids. I've coached basketball, football, baseball. And this last season, my 11-year-old, who's a quarterback, little stud, left-hander, we were playing Preston. And I got to the game, and I'm doing my same routine. I got the cooler with the ice and the water, going down the sideline. We're watching the game that's just before us, Westfield, which is West Haven versus Preston. As I'm walking down the sideline, I'm looking up into the Westfield audience, and all of a sudden, I lock eyes with the drunk driver that hit me, which was kind of a crazy coincidence, right? And a lot was said without saying anything. It was like closure, like resolution, like you're a grandpa now, you're watching your grandson, we went through this, you learned what you need to learn, I learned what I need to learn, and here we are, right? Closure, full circle, everything happens for a reason. He quit drinking, he shows that Oprah Winfrey show to his grandkids and others, hey, don't get involved with this is, right, what happens? So it became a very good tool to help a lot of people, right? And yeah, it's been a heck of a journey so far. As far as my leg goes, the next step was to try and cover up that bone, right? Still, the bone needs that coverage. So Dr. Scott said there's a guy in Flint, Michigan, a doctor, surgeon, who is doing these flaps, and they might be able to cover up your bone with a flap. It's like a 13-hour microsurgery, named Dr. Lister. So I called up my friend Shay Stewart, and still appreciate him to this day, for going with me, driving over there, supporting me. We drove all the way to Flint, Michigan, which was such a coincidence. There's always these coincidences. Flint, Michigan is where my biological dad was from, right? The one that ended up coming to Utah State to play football, quarterback, right? Isn't that crazy? So we go over to Flint, and we have this consultation with the surgeon. He takes my case, he flies to Utah, he operates on my leg. It's a 13-hour microsurgery. They take this blood vessel out of my arm, run it down to the area, and they take my lat. Okay, I don't have a lat on the left side. It's gone. And I thought it was going to heal my leg, so I said, sure, let's do it. And it turns out that the lat died. It wasn't getting enough blood flow. So I lost another muscle. So after each surgery, and when surgery doesn't, when it fails, it hits you hard, and it takes a while to get back on your feet. And Dr. Scott knew it. He was like, gosh, just take a break, Sid, and then we'll revisit another idea, in the future. So you go back to school, do your thing, and he says, I get this phone call, Sidney, I've got to talk to you. We've got an idea, another idea on how to fix your leg. I go, what is it? He said, well, I've been consulting with Dr. Pete from New Zealand, and they're doing this primitive procedure, it's kind of an older procedure, where they connect one part of your body to another part of your body to bring blood flow. For example, let's say someone was in a hunting accident, accidentally shot their hand off, right, part of it. They could take the hand that's mutilated, sew it to their body, and it would actually form some new tissue.